Hey guys, so on Monday we took two trades which made about 350 pips. So I'll do a quick breakdown. The first one was EurNzd. So we share the signal, to our members. You can join freely. The link is in the description if you want, the instructions on how to join our signals. So just a quick recap on what I looked at before looking for a position on EurNzd. The trade was actually a buy trade. It was at this point, but my analysis was based on the general market direction. So if you zoom out your chart, you can clearly see that EurNzd was, or rather is in a very clear, bullish trend. Price is forming lower highs, lower lows. So it's just a continuous series. The pattern doesn't have to be very perfect as long as you can, you can spot the direction. That's the most important thing. So I've marked Monday open where, the market opened on Monday. So looking at the 4-hour time frame, price traded to this high. Then we had a retracement which traded back to this demand zone and got rejected. So this was part of my analysis, because when price trades back to the demand zone, you're expecting that higher chances are that, there'll be some rejection and the price will start moving to the opposite side. So that's exactly what happened. We got a very strong bullish candlestick, which is some sort of confirmation that actually buyers are still strong in this market. So moving to the 1-hour time frame, where we got our entry from. So if you look from Monday at this point, price traded higher, then it came back to this zone, let me mark it, which is also a key rejection zone. So when price traded here for the first time, I think at this point I still wasn't watching the market, so it traded higher, then again came to test the zone. So you want to expect that price would be unable to break lower, because you can see we have this series where we have, some pattern of higher highs and higher lows. The expectation is that price will trade lower than this point. That's exactly what happened. We had a rejection and a bullish engulfing. So the bullish engulfing is actually the confirmation that I used for entry. So when we had the bullish engulfing, I just waited for price to retrace a little bit, because you don't want to jump in immediately the candle closes. You want to wait for price to retrace. So my entry point was about here. My stop loss was just below this zone, so about 50 pips. Then my take profit was approximately exited at about 120 pips. That's how we got the trade. Very simple. Let's move to the next trade. So the next trade we have GbpAud, which was also a bullish trade on Monday. So this is actually Monday market open. So this trade actually, I had very different confluences, that, were all telling me the same thing. So if you look at GbpAud, first of all, from the higher time frame, if you look at it from the 4-hour, you'll realize that price traded very low. Then we had an instant bullish move. I think the daily time frame reveals it better. Yeah, if you look at the daily time frame, we had a very massive rejection down here. This rejection just shows you that sellers have been rejected and buyers are strong in this market. And then we've had a series of very long bullish candlesticks. So I was not looking for anything other than a bullish trade on GbpAud. So what I identified, I think I identified a zone of support on the 1-hour time frame. Price was, price traded back to this zone. Let me just mark. Price traded back here to this demand zone at this point. Then when price got back here, you see it was unable to break. So we had, I think 1, 2, 3, 4. We had 4 touches, and each and every time price was unable to break below this zone. So after getting the 4 touches, you want to see if you'll get another bullish confirmation before you can, get into a trade. Because it's also possible to have this rejection, but eventually price comes in, trades below and breaks the zone. So what I was waiting for is any sign of a bullish, pattern. And it actually happened, because if you check this zone here, which is some sort of consolidation, if you mark, price came and traded above. Let me make the chart a little bit clearer. Price came and we had a breakout candlestick out of this zone. So having the support here was my first, reason. Then also And the daily time frame is clearly indicating that the bulls are strong in this market than the bears. Then the third thing for me is now having this consolidation pattern and having this breakout candlestick. So this breakout candlestick is our confirmation that price is now bullish. So now what you want to do is simply look for an entry point. Now you'll realize that these pound pairs have been having quite some high volumes, over the past 1 or 2 weeks. So that means if you're to get your trade anywhere here and put your stop loss below, your stop loss is going to be very big. So in such a case, you have to refine your entry. So what I did is I went and looked for my entry using the 4 hour time. I mean, using the 15-minute time frame. So you want to go and look at a very smaller time frame to get your entry point. So my whole idea was after getting this breakout candlestick at this point, then price traded higher. I came and marked this breaker. So this is the zone where price break above. Let me just show. Just a minute. You see price traded above this zone. So you come and mark that zone from where the shadow is to where the body is and extend it to the right. So you want to go on the lower time frames. So you want to go in the lower time frame and wait for price to come and retest this zone. So if price retests this zone, it doesn't mean you buy immediately. You also wait for another confirmation. So you see the number of confirmations you need before your trade is actually valid. So price came and retraced back here on the 15-minute time frame, and we actually had some sort of small candlesticks. So you need to be very keen to notice this price behavior. But if you mark here, you'll notice that we have a series of small candlesticks which are about, I think, 4 or 5. Then we have this breakout. So when we have the breakout from that candlestick, my entry point was here. I waited for price to retrace where the breakout has happened, and that's where you want to get your trade. So that's how I got my bullish trade. My entry point was exactly after price retraces back here. Then my stop loss was close to 50 pips because GbpAud has been trading with some very huge volume. So if you use a very a very small stop loss of 20-30 pips, you might easily get stopped out. So as long as you have a good risk to reward, that's all that matters. So my stop loss was about 50 pips, and I gathered about 150 pips from this trade. Yeah, I got about 150 pips from this trade. Though I think I had like 2 entries, so I was able to do one exit at about 70 pips, the other exit at about 150 pips. So this trade alone, I did about 200 and something pips. So basically, that's how I got over 350 pips in 2 trades.